You can add your little 2
expertise.
cents.
Yeah, because the Mendoza line, Will Smith.
Will Smith is the Mendoza line. To us, I want to be clear. All of this is opinion. All right, so
Well, obviously.
yeah, I'm just saying. But
Anything else?
They made me
Top
feel bad
five,
about
Are
it.
They
the other day.
I
Alive?
have a
Rapper
question that has
MC.
nothing to do with
Anything
this.
else?
Did you start taping already?
Yeah, just now.
We're rolling right now.
Well, yeah.
Recording.
That's what he's good at. This. He got us going, and you didn't even know it.
That's fantastic.
Got all the
So, welcome to the 3rd episode of the Neighbors Podcast. My name is Kobe, and this is Rich. We want to start off by thanking everybody who's listening and who's listened before. We've been on YouTube and gotten several tens of hits.
Dozens.
Yeah, listen. Episode 2.
There are dozens.
Episode 2 is at a whopping 17. Don't.
You know what we call
don't
that?
poo-poo that. Don't do
You know
that.
what we call that in the business?
What's that?
Traction.
Is that what that is?
Starting to heat up a little bit.
All right, listen.
We got shout outs.
Yeah,
we
we
always
got
like to
shout-outs.
start with
Listen,
some shout-outs.
Can we tell them what it is first? It's
What is
episode.
it?
It's episode 3.
It is episode 3.
On episode 1, we said by episode 3, if we hadn't solved the race relations problem in this country, we had failed.
That's
So
correct.
no pressure on you, though. No pressure on you.
Well, no, because I'm the one that's clearly grounded in the concept of inclusion and bringing it all together.
Is that right?
I'm the one that no longer sees color in this relationship. It is you, my friend, who has the issues.
Well, I'll allow that for this particular conversation. If that's what you want,
No, but
you want to put that out there.
I think by episode 3 we should have started to find our voice in this dialogue for sure.
I think we're there.
I think we're getting there.
Yeah, well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
So listen, real quick shout out. Shout out to you, obviously. Shout out to our great neighbor Aaron for allowing us to record over here.
I think we might have an engineer for our show now.
I don't know what his rate is, so I need to talk to him about that. But I like to shout out my kids.
Yep.
Catherine and Courtney.
Catherine and Courtney coming off of a big week of school and prom.
Yeah, prom was
right?
a traumatic experience for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And thank you to Aaron for being there and supporting me.
Yeah.
I can't really say the same about you,
Well,
but Aaron was there.
Sorry, I was at my in-laws celebrating the crucifixion of Christ. My bad.
Wait,
You're
so
right.
so you're gonna put Jesus in my face? Is that what you're gonna do? That's what you're doing?
Why I was out of
That's-
town. That's why I was out of town.
You act like I don't. I know Jesus. I
I would
understand what it was.
have been there. You
Sure.
know I would have been there.
I want to be clear. I'll be there for your daughters.
I've also heard a few stories about you when you were in the heat of the battle.
What do you mean?
So we'll get to that. I got that on my
Are
agenda.
you-
But we'll come around.
That's what you call a blind side. You're blind.
No, that's called a tease in the
Oh, good
business. We're
Lord.
teasing. Not like Mike Greenberg over here.
Is that
Mike
who,
and Mike in the
is,
morning?
is that your? Is that
I love
who
that
your,
dude.
your template is? Mike Greenberg. That's your.
He does the tease a lot. You got to admit, he's the king of the tease.
Well, the local king of the tees on Sports Talk Radio is probably that kid that does the sports in the afternoons on my drive home. I don't remember his name, but
Oh, hey, can we talk about this? Because I don't think you and I have ever talked about it, and it could be kind of fun to talk about it live. Have we ever discussed in any depth Chuck Dowdle, who is the voice of the Atlanta Braves?
never.
Okay, yeah, we're going to get.
Oh, you're doing your little notes. Listen, I'm not finished with my shout out. Shout out.
No, you're not.
Shout out. I shouted out my kids. I shouted out your kids. Listen, especially Reese, who got a double yesterday on the softball game, big time, and an RBI. And we had a problem because the beginning of the next inning, she was told that she was on the bench and not going out into the field. And I think you should reward offensive behavior with a spot on the defense. That's my opinion.
It was a doubleheader. Maybe the coach had strategy for how he was saving the energy of certain players.
Yeah, okay.
But she did play the rest of the game,
Well, good.
the rest of both games.
Yes.
We missed. I had to leave to go get Austin. She got another hit, and she got the game ball.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she went 2 for 2 yesterday.
Wow.
3 for 3 maybe.
Well,
she got the game ball.
She got hit the first.
Yeah,
game,
but
she
that
got
doesn't
the
count
base.
it as an at bat.
Okay, respect. I don't.
Yeah, and then she got on by a drop third strike, which I learned today counts as a strikeout, but it also counts towards her on base percentage, which I don't think we're really calculating at this point. Anyhow. But anyway, she had a big day.
Reese is becoming
Big day.
a nice offensive player. No, I see her. I saw her yesterday.
So yeah, good.
And I want to be clear: the team that she played in the first game, they were clearly bigger, and I have there's some documentation issues. that I
No,
have.
someone's been messing with
Yeah,
their papers.
someone's been cooking those books. I
No
don't know if
question
those.
about it.
I don't know if those girls were in the age range. They looked like a
Yeah.
college team to me.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out
No,
there.
that's fair.
I'm not accusing anybody of steroid use or anything like that. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I don't think it was really fair. But she did
Fair
her
enough.
thing anyway.
There was some angry women playing against our little children. Shout out to your wife and my wife for putting up with us. Kind of cool.
I don't really like shouting out my wife, but go ahead. I'll shout out your wife.
I
though.
shout out.
Okay, respect.
That's cool.
Shout out to Ella, Quincy, and Jonathan too, from Aaron's children.
Yeah.
I like to shout them out as well, and the rest of the cul-de-sac.
Maybe his wife.
Jackie.
Yeah.
We like to shout out Jackie for allowing us to do our tomfoolery. Can we do top 5 real quick? So
You want to do top 5? Is that where we want to go?
That's how we
Are there
always
any?
start.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do top 5.
All right.
Now, change in format, right? You actually informed me
Yeah.
what your top 5 is.
I really wanted to stop and maybe change the top 5 because Prince, the anniversary of his passing was just.
Well, let's think on that as we're doing this.
But I'm not going to change it now. But I was, I watched Sign of the Times the other day, and I'm feeling in a real big.
I feel really good about my top 5.
Of course.
I feel good about what I brought to the table.
Do
I
you
did
want-
some research.
Oh, good God.
I did, and I thought about it a lot, like the type of topics or the type. So tell us what the top 5 is. You have
Top 5 stand-up comedians of all time is our top 5 today.
which is hard.
It's not.
It's hard. It's not.
Not for me.
Well,
but-
if it wasn't hard, then why don't you go first?
no, you go first because I always go first, and I don't want to.
Okay, here we go. You ready? So
Yeah.
so here's what I did. So you gave us that,
Yeah.
and I started thinking about it, and I started thinking about the different type of humor, and then just generally speaking, the people that over years that I
No
was
prop
exposed
comics
to.
in your stuff either. No prop comics.
You know, so I did it in phases. I did it, and Carrot
if,
Top
Car- if Carrot
just
is, I
missed
will
the
leap
cut.
across this table.
Do you know Heather and I went and saw Carrot Top?
Please don't say it anymore.
We did. We went and saw Carrot Top.
And if you tell me it was a transformative experience for you,
It was not.
oh, thank
But,
you.
No, we did. We saw Carrot Top when we were dating at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like I would drive up, and you know how campuses are. They always have, people on. So we saw Harvey Firestein, who was actually really funny. Believe it or not, the guy who talks.
Yeah, I
can't
know
do
him.
that.
I know
You
him.
what I'm saying?
That's good.
He's funny. All right, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I think this is my order.
You're gonna go 5 through 1 or 1 through 5, so I know what to do.
I'll go 5 through 1.
Oh, that's respect. You give him a little suspense. That's
Yeah,
what's up.
yeah.
I like
All right,
it.
so
you're getting your feet. You're getting you're getting your legs under you. I like it.
Number 5
Mhm.
is Eddie Izzard.
Okay.
English,
I know who he is.
cross-dressing.
I know who he is.
What I like about it is he's Euro,
Yeah.
so he brings kind of a more of a global perspective,
Sure.
and I find his comedy pretty funny.
Okay.
I like it. He is bright and educated without being snobby in his approach.
Sure.
Dig it. I just like it. And I like his observations
Okay.
about the duplicity of history in many ways. So
All right.
that's that.
Respect.
Number 4 would be Eddie Murphy.
Oh, good pick.
So Eddie Murphy Raw, like as a kid
Yeah.
growing up in the 80s and
Yeah.
90s, I don't know that there was anything that I can think of that was like as powerful as Eddie Murphy stalking that stage in that leather suit.
Yeah.
That was pretty badass, right? So
Yes.
it was pretty incredible.
Sure.
Number 3,
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams.
Respect. He's a hack, but go ahead. He stole jokes. Go ahead, though.
Whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
it's.
whoa, 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 whoa.
No.
He's a hack?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Robin
Rest
Williams
in peace
is
to
a
Ro-
hack.
Rest in peace to Robin Williams. He stole several jokes. So go ahead, though. No disrespect. He's a joke stealer. It's okay.
Like, what do you mean by that, though?
That means he stole.
Like, he
people's
heard
jo-
someone tell a joke at a show somewhere?
Yes, and he stole. The
And then
joke.
he stole
Yes.
stole it?
On several occasions.
But did he deliver it better than the person he stole it from?
We would never know because there was nobody bigger than him.
How do
So
we know
the
this?
bigger
Like, if I
voices
Google
drive it.
this, that's the truth?
Oh,
That- and that-
absolutely. Absolutely. Joe Rogan talked about it publicly, but there are several people. Joe Rogan has talked about it. There are several people that have talked about it.
So,
And it's okay.
joke stealer.
Joe Steele.
Not okay, but okay.
I don't mean to. Listen,
But at the same time, let me say...
he's a hack. But may he rest in peace. He's a great performer.
Oh, my Lord, how can you say that?
I apologize.
All right,
Are we outlawing the truth?
It's just really odd, though, because typically you recognize talent.
He's
even
a
if you don't
talented hack.
like it.
He's a talented hack, but he's a hack.
So hack is definition for stealing somebody's
Somebody's
material.
stuff. Absolutely. One of the number one rules in stand-up comedy is you don't steal people's jokes.
See,
man.
people don't know this about you, but you've actually taken a turn or two as a stand-up comic.
I did a little stand-up in college. I don't want to talk about it.
What was your stage name?
Kobe Drew. What's wrong with you? Shucky Ducky was my Kobe Drew was my
I
stage
saw
name.
Chucky Ducky.
You did not.
I did.
You did not.
He was not.
There was a.
He
There's
was
a
kind
black,
of a hack.
There's a black. Yeah, absolutely. There's a black comedian who wears a cowboy hat who named Hamburger. I want to just look that up on Google. That's a Now you talk about a hack. That dude's a hack. Go
So
ahead,
there
man.
are a lot of so like you can go to some websites and look at people how they rank comics.
Yeah.
You know who I thought about? He stayed on here for a while and then he dropped off. Was Patrice O'Neill?
He's on mine.
He's on yours.
Absolutely.
I had a feeling he might be.
I love him.
You know who
May
was
he
really
rest in
hard to
peace.
keep out?
Who was that?
Chappelle.
He's on mine too.
I figured he would be. I figured he would be. Are there any white people on yours?
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
What are you talking
All right.
about?
So number two,
Go ahead.
number
Go
two,
ahead.
George Carlin.
Great comedian. That's the most respectable name on your list so far.
George Carlin.
He's dope. He's ridiculous.
Amazing.
He's great. Yeah, I love him.
not as good as Patrice O'Neill.
Not to me.
Okay. Do you have Kit Kat Williams on there too?
Cat Williams is not on my list, and how
You know-
dare you put me in a box?
You know who was really hard to keep off of this,
Who was
and
that?
it was my last cut.
Mhm.
Like, I think Red Fox was really funny.
Red Fox is great.
He's not on
fantastic.
yours?
No, he's not. Not on my
Okay.
top 5. He's in
All
my
right,
top
and
10.
then finally, this is a slam dunk. I think Richard Pryor.
That's universal.
Yeah,
Sure.
right. I mean, there's
Sure.
just I don't
There's
even know
certain
that
there's certain things.
it's not a debate.
There's certain things.
So, is it just that black people are just generally funnier than white people? Is that why you have no white people on your list? Or do you not see color when it comes to comedy?
I don't see color. Period.
Are you sure?
I don't see color. Period.
Okay, so those were mine.
Mhm.
Those were mine. So Eddie Izzard, Robin Williams, obviously not on yours.
No.
Murphy and Pryor are,
Yes.
but we don't know order.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agreed on 2 of 5.
2 or 5?
That's not so bad for us,
I don't think so either.
considering our upbringings. I was raised with a silver spoon in my mouth. So you say, oh yeah, there's what we need.
Wow. Jackie brought the Don Julio.
All right,
I'm very happy about this.
another shout out to Jackie for
Shout out to
bringing
Jackie.
the Don Julio. All right, top
Shout out to
5.
Four glasses.
How about for you?
Number
Let's hear
five.
it.
Number
Number
5 is
five.
number 5. Chris Rock is my number 5.
So he was hard for me to keep off as well.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's obviously politically he hits, but there's a lot of social things. He's a smart guy. I love smart comedy, and I watched him develop into one of the best ever. So Chris Rock is number 5.
Okay.
Number 4 on my list is Patrice O'Neill, who is suffering from what they call the Biggie Smalls or Bo Jackson syndrome. He was gone too soon, but he was just about to break. When you talk about people who, very honest, great relationship stuff, Elephant in the Room is one of the best stand-up hours that I've ever seen.
Okay.
Also, Mr. P, which was released after he passed. Fantastic stand-up hour as well.
Okay.
He was great on the Opie and Anthony show. One of the best comedians ever. Number 3 is Dave Chappelle.
That's where I had him for you.
Obviously, hometown guy. I'm from DC. He's from DC. You used to see him around, but the work he did on the Chappelle Show, and he has, to me, 2 classic stand-up hours as well. What's the name of the dog one? He got 2 that he did that were fantastic.
How do you feel about his return to comedy? Because he's
His-
recently returned.
His last 2 Netflix specials were very, very good. One was
Okay. I haven't seen 'em yet.
One was better than the other, but
I haven't seen 'em.
he's fantastic. Number 2 is Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
For me, Delirious was what Raw is for you. When I watch Delirious, I go, that's a comic on top of the game. Not just his game, but the game. And Eddie Murphy had, when you talk about influence, Eddie Murphy influenced almost everybody. Chris
Yeah.
Rock, Dave Chappelle, Martin Long, everybody.
Yeah.
Every relevant comedian saw Eddie Murphy and said, I can do that. And of course, Richard Pryor, who influenced comedy as a whole, is my number 1. Richard
Yeah.
Pryor is number 1. When I saw Live on Sunset Strip, when I saw Richard Pryor live in concert, he is, to me, the quintessential. I heard Dave Chappelle say this. It might have been Chris Rock. You know those charts where you go, there's a Neanderthal man, and
Yeah, they
there's
kinda
the
goes
guy
up
that
through
broke-
evolution.
Right. Richard Pryor is the first comic that stood erect. He was that guy.
Huh.
All the rest of them before him were primitive.
Okay.
He influenced everybody after him.
So no Kevin Hart.
No, he's not on. He's not even in my top 10.
So I was reading something in preparation for this today. Kevin Hart in Rolling Stone had Kevin Hart ranked as the 7th best comic of all time, stand-up comedian
That's
of all time.
ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
I thought that was really
That's ridiculous.
wildly out there. As
And
well.
nothing against Kevin Hart.
No,
it's ridiculous.
And he's to his credit, dude's going for it, right? Like
Oh,
you
he's
hear him
doing-
talk, he's
he's
like,
doing big things.
yeah,
What are you talking
it's awesome. But yeah, I thought that was a little swinging for the fence. Okay, so I have a couple thoughts here.
about? Can I shout out this Don Julio? This is fantastic.
Yeah, I need a beer.
It's
from that, dude.
it's gonna change the whole tone of the.
I think it will because I get a little nasty with the tequila. So
You're already nasty though.
so
To me, I don't.
you know what shout out we forgot?
Who's that?
Kind of the unofficial official
Creature Comforts
Creature
Tropicalia.
Comforts Tropicalia.
Shouting y'all out.
Shouting.
I know that our director hates it. My daughter Catherine, who's filming it, hates it when we do that because we're not getting any money. That's what she said when we were in my kitchen. Why are y'all keep doing that?
So-
We're not getting any money.
So now we've entered into an area that I actually know something about.
Oh, good lord!
We kind of need more than 17 people listening to our podcast. In
Listen,
order
this is what you call a slow progression.
I'm telling you, it's building.
it's a building.
You know what? A tsunami only crashes on the beach, but it builds way out in the sea. Take that one home for you. All right, so Kevin Hart was
What
one that
the
I thought.
hell are you-
No, don't worry about it.
Can we acknowledge something? There's an elephant in this room. Okay, and before we move any further, you and I had a bit of a falling out last weekend.
We did?
Yeah, we did. You know we did. Don't pretend.
No, we did not. What was it? Last weekend I was out of town.
No, you came home. It was Easter. There was a group of people in my backyard.
Yeah.
We said some things to each other that were a little bit beside, out of the pale, and then we didn't talk for like 3 days or 4 days.
Okay. And I went out of town.
No, but sometimes when you're out of town, and not to sound
But
like you,
I
not to
don't
sound like the
remember-
doting wife, but you text me, man.
I honestly don't remember. I honestly don't remember what.
We were mad
exact-
at each other. We were mad at each
I don't
other.
think
I
we
was
were,
really mad
though.
at you. I was mad at you.
Why?
Because
But why?
because you were talking about why I know about white culture versus why you don't know about black culture.
I still don't think I'm way off on
You
this.
are. You said you
There's
made it.
there's a couple ingredients in this, and you refuse to acknowledge them. One is these a lot of the topics that we talk about.
Sure.
You care about more than I do, and therefore you know more about it,
I
right?
disagree because they're
Dude, it's like
but I-
music's more important to you.
That's not
Movies
true.
are.
That's not true.
And you are so full
you're,
of crap.
you're very passionate about what you're passionate about. Is my point. I watch.
But music
when you
and
talk,
movies
when you talk
are-
about
are
Will
one
Ferrell
of them.
movies, you get excited. Like you almost get an erection. You do.
I don't know about
It's
that.
true.
That's a little.
When you talk
let's
about
not go
when
blue
you-
in front of the
That's
kids.
fine. When you talk about in excess, your nipples get hard. I'm not sugarcoating anything. You like what you like. My
Okay,
point.
but that's
my point
not
is this,
music.
here's-
That is a band. That
Oh
is
yeah,
a band.
A band has nothing to do with music. What's wrong with you? Have you been drinking? But
You're not-
more than you already are.
See, but this is what you do.
Okay,
You start talking and you get really angry.
I'm not angry.
And
I'm very calm.
I think there. what I
very
was trying
calm.
to say is, your argument always to me is that you compare the two of us in this very singular area,
Yeah.
and say, I clearly know a lot about art and music and movies, so just kind of the creative side of the black culture.
Sure.
And I also know a lot about those same things in white culture. Why don't you? That's the base of the conversation, right? So you were comparing yourself to me.
I don't think that's the basic.
And
conversation.
part
Go ahead.
and
Your premise is off. But go ahead.
what's the premise then?
Okay, it's about. No, go ahead. Finish your point because I can correct it from the completion. Just go. Keep going.
And I say two things.
Okay.
One, most of those areas that we talk about in the music and the art and the movies, those things are genuinely more important to you. I am a very base person when it comes to those things. Do I like to be entertained by movies? Yes. Do I like stupid romantic comedies and things with Will Ferrell? Yes, but at a very base level, like they're not.
Also, Steel Magnolias.
they're-
Can we talk
and I
about
love
that?
Steel Magnolias.
I know.
They're not.
I'll throw that in there.
But it's not important. It's not as important to me. So
It's not important to me. I wouldn't say it's important to me. I would say it's a part of my life, but I wouldn't say it's important to me.
Kobe, I would tell you
Yeah.
that if I was to ask the people closest to you
Yeah.
whether or not those things were important to you, they would say they are. It's
Mm.
just true. And you take a great amount of pleasure and pride in knowing about those things.
I don't.
You do.
I don't.
So there's that piece of it. One, it occupies. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
It occupies more space in your life than mine.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Two, I have a theory that because you are a black man from the inner city of DC,
Sure.
and I am from a lower middle class to middle class part of Cleveland, and I'm a white guy,
Middle class, definitely.
suburb, right?
Sure.
That there's no question my path has been different and easier.
Okay.
You would never have me argue anything else.
No.
And I have put forth the theory that
Mhm.
is it possible that when you combine your natural inclinations towards those things
Mhm.
and the fact that you are an intelligent black man who has struggled to make it in what is mostly would be considered a very white-centric world, that it was easy for you to apply that passion and love into other areas, and it also helped you understand the white world and the white whatever as well. That's all I've ever said about it, is
Well,
because you've had to work harder to get what you wanted versus I did.
Well,
Now, I don't like being discounted for the effort I've made, but I will absolutely never deny the fact that I had a head start.
okay. Here's
So does any of that make sense?
some of it does. I would say 40% of that makes sense. But here's where you're wrong. Okay?
Okay.
It's as if you're saying that I gravitate towards certain things because I was looking for some sort of level of understanding and standing into a world that I had no idea even existed.
Not
I
that
was-
didn't exist, but that you knew
No,
you
no,
had to
I-
understand in order to get ahead.
I felt no. First of all, I wasn't thinking about getting ahead when I was 11 years old. That's when I fell in love with the Beatles. I wasn't thinking about anything. I didn't think I was going to be alive at 25. And so the concept of me trying to get ahead is
Okay.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
That
you've
doesn't
made-
make any sense.
You've made that comment to me before.
That's what I'm
which I
saying.
don't get, right? Like I don't.
I know
have
you
that
don't
perspective.
understand, but this is what I'm saying. Like when I fell in love with the Beatles, or when I fell in love with like John Hughes movies. I apologize for liking 16 Candles, but it's one of my favorite movies. When I fell in love with those things, I wasn't thinking about any sort of understanding of anything.
We're trying to manipulate a system to get ahead.
Because I didn't give a damn about the system. I didn't think I was going to get out of where
See,
I
this
was.
is part of I've never put those two pieces together. So,
that's
this is
what I'm
great.
saying. That's what I'm saying. But there's a certain arrogance that you think, oh,
Arrogance.
you want to be a part of our world, and that's not what it
That's,
was at all. Or you want to accept or try to understand. That's not what it was. I wasn't thinking about anything except this is dope. Like that's all I like. When I saw Breakfast Club for the first time,
Yeah.
I thought this is amazing. Or when I heard Yellow Submarine
Okay.
for the first time, I go, wow.
Okay, but you don't have to get mad at me.
I'm not mad.
But hold on,
I'm
you,
not-
you said you said you got mad at me last week.
I was mad at you for the way you
can't-
made your point.
You
was
can't
that was
get mad
angry.
at me. You can't get mad at me for positing hypotheses in order to get to understanding.
Well, first of all,
Right?
mad is a
Because this whole thing was supposed to be about a
No, it
dialogue.
is.
And
And-
for the record, when I left on Easter after celebrating the resurrection of the Christ,
okay. Go ahead.
there was no.
There was some animosity. You
No,
felt the
but you
way.
do have to understand though that sometimes it's like how it's so one of the great gifts you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
One of the great gifts about being close to you and your family and all that entails is I get a dose of what it's like for you every day walking into most situations in
Sure.
terms of being the black guy with a bunch of white people.
Absolutely.
So the only thing I would say is if I got a little aggressive,
You were.
it's because I'm a.
You were.
You weren't, but you weren't.
I know. I absolutely was.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
But
you can be.
my relationship with you that creates that dynamic for me, which I don't shy away from,
No,
but
I
it's
don't.
still a very new thing for me.
I want to be clear.
So
about
when you
something,
push
too.
on me, I'm
Yeah, I know you're gonna push back.
I mean, I know I seem like a pushover,
And no one said you were a pushover.
but I'm really not.
No one said. Who said
Have
that?
we done the shout out to Tropicalia yet?
Shout out to Tropicalia again. Hey, Catherine, are you getting this in the frame?
Yeah.
We may need to go get a couple
But wait,
more.
I want to make it one point. All right, me being angry with you for a couple of days doesn't mean that I don't love you. I clearly do.
Oh,
All right.
certainly.
Because you know how you get though. You're super sensitive. I need you to understand the reason why I get angry with you is because I love you so much. If I didn't get angry with you, that means I don't give a damn. I care about you, and so.
Well, sure.
Okay, do you understand that piece?
Completely.
All right, I just need.
That's why when I leave and we have one of those,
And it makes me-
doesn't even
and I'm-
it
I'm-
doesn't even bug me because I feel like we have evolved to a place where you and I could get into it and it's
and
okay.
it'll be fine. And here's how you know I love you. I'm expressing it in front of a lot of people, and it's weird. I want to say
By the
too.
way, that one friend of yours I really enjoy. He's cool. Plus, he kind of was on my side.
Gary?
I like that.
You talking about Gary?
Mhm.
It's not a friend. Well, he's a friend of mine, but he got known because of Jr.
He's JR's buddy, right?
Yeah, he's JR's guy.
got-
Shout out to JR and Roddy, my in-laws, my brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law, JR,
Yeah,
can cook chicken.
yeah. That was
Damn.
Aaron had got a.
Aaron was,
Aaron got a few
Aaron was
pieces
there
of
when
chicken.
that all went down.
Yeah, he was there. He was.
See,
there.
Aaron's not going
Aaron
to
was
chime
also.
in, but Aaron thinks I'm right.
He doesn't. He was also there when the snake came too. He was also there when the snake came, and they were
I got
talking bad about me because I went to the snake instead of staying where they were.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
nice. That was a nice clear to the throat.
so some of that, but so some of that is me just trying to, because I think so. The opposite of this. So take it another in another way.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes how this is expressed by you in one way, shape, or form, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. It is. I don't know a lot about art in the black culture. I have never found hip hop to be compelling. It's just, for me, it's just not.
I respect it.
I think that there are parts of it that I just can't understand because of my experience versus
Sure.
what it is, right?
Okay.
Yes, I like the Beastie Boys, not because they're white, but I grew up with them, and it was probably the first thing that I ever heard that was anything like that.
Sure.
But I couldn't tell you another album.
Yeah, I love. There's a
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know there's a lot, and you like them.
There's a few. Oh, I love the Beastie Boys.
But
Paul
I don't-
Boutique is one of my favorite albums ever. I
But-
love that. I love that album. And License to Ill is a great album.
And like movies that I haven't seen yet, like the Fridays stuff, which I plan on watching.
Not Freaky Friday, but Friday.
I
Friday.
know.
I'm just putting it out there because that's what you.
Herbie the Love Bug.
No, not that.
Why did they ever remake Herbie the
I
Love
don't know.
Bug? They didn't need to do that.
Love that.
Jamie Lee
I love the
Curtis.
original.
Like, the original is the original. You
Yeah.
can't have. Okay, so, but I don't want.
Jamie Lee
But
Curtis
I-
and
but I-
Trading
but I
Places is my
sometimes
favorite.
feel
That's
like
my
you
favorite
think-
Trading Places. Trading Places with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's one of the reasons why I love that movie so much too. She was great. in it.
Hermaphrodite, right?
Who? Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we'll have to fact check on that one. Yeah, I think so.
I had never heard that till just now.
Kick the Google machine up.
I'm not prepared for that.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
mess. You messing
I mean,
me
she's
up.
got all the female parts, as we know,
just
because
stop
we
right.
saw
Stop right there. Gee.
in the movie. But
you,
I think
you might as well have just hit me in the stomach. Good God.
no. We got our fact check.
Sometimes I wasn't. Sometimes I'm not ready for what you bring to the table. That was a freaking bombshell.
Yeah,
you
I
just.
just dropped that, didn't I?
Good God, man. I
me
don't
go
think
back.
we should gloss over
But I
that.
don't want you to think that.
Oh my God! Wait a second. Hold on.
It could be an urban legend, but I think it's true.
Can we talk about how much of a you were gonna gloss over it? Can we talk about you just hit me in the you just might as well have hit me over the head with a hammer, man. I can't believe it. Really, that's an urban
You've
legend?
never heard that?
I've never heard that before.
I think it's true.
Okay. All right. We'll go back to that. What's the next segment? Because I need
No, but I want to get somewhere.
Okay.
I don't want. But it's really important for you to understand this because it's a criticism you have of me. You understand a lot more about the arts and the culture that I am familiar with, and I understand less. And it's not because I don't care. It's just I just don't.
My opinion is different. I see you enjoying the art to a level where I go, it's part of his life. I do.
Really? Yeah.
I do. When I look at you, listen to music, or I'm in the environment where you listen to music, there are things you understand, there are things you know about. I've watched several movies with you. There are things that you know. We've had discussions, and so I don't think you're putting enough on how important that is to you, and that's cool. We talked yesterday about being self-aware. I need you to just understand this level of importance. There is some importance there, and it may not even be the level of importance to me, but it's still a big part of who you are, Rich. In my opinion, when I look at you.
But can we find agreement? Can we find agreement or make progress on the notion that, like, is it incumbent upon me to, like, I'm not a scholar, right? Like, I'm not, like, I feel like you look down on me because you know a lot more about, like,
I don't look down on you.
like hair bands of the 80s and
I don't
90s
look-
like I do.
I don't look down on
and
you.
I don't know anything about hip hop and rap from that
I don't
period or forward.
I need you to understand I don't look down.
But I think you do. You
I
think
don't.
I'm not. You've made the comment that you don't spend the time. Why is this? This is like almost verbatim out of your mouth.
No.
Why do I know? Like if we're upstairs playing
but-
dominoes. Hold on. If we're upstairs playing dominoes, and we're playing, and we've got like 80s music on or whatever,
You got
right?
another beer in there?
I've got a Beck's Light. We can send the kids over.
No. Give me the next one.
Well, we need to send them because I've got 2 left. Could we send it, or do you want me to text Heather? To
No.
have Reese bring some over? Would one of y'all mind going into my fridge and getting a 6-pack of Tropicalia?
No, go to my fridge and just get 3.
No, we need a 6-pack. Aaron's here.
Aaron's not gonna drink any Tropicalia. I swear
Aaron?
to God.